norms.com for more information.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
All right, what's happening, everybody? It is Pushing the Limits. Thank you so much for joining us. You'll be watching on the Occupied Democrats Network, the Washington Press Network, the FM AM dial, KSHP. Check out the website, pushingthelimits.live. We appreciate you being a part of the show. Hey, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? A lot of my listeners and fans of the show have been hitting me up on X. They said, you got to try this new Blue Sky app. People are much nicer on there. It's run very similarly to X in one aspect of technology. I will say the people on there are much nicer. So literally just minutes ago, I just created a new profile on Blue Sky. Same handle, by the way, at PCL Radio Show. If you want to join me on there, I'll be adding extra content on there. We have a big show lined up for you today. So coming up here in just a few minutes, I'm going to be going through some of the new hires in Donald Trump's upcoming administration. Like Huckabee being one of them, Pete Hegseth. Oh, we got a lot on Pete Hegseth we got to talk about. No question about that. We have a lot
we have to talk about when it comes to Pete Hegseth. So we'll be getting to that coming up here in just a little bit. And listen, Donald Trump met with Joe Biden today because Joe Biden graciously invited him to the White House. They shook hands, they smiled, exchanged a few pleasantries. But that is the same thing that Donald Trump did not give to Joe Biden. That same decency, that same respect. So it's important to note that, and a lot of people on social media on the far right, MAGA's out there saying, oh, owning the libs. Look at how happy Joe Biden is to be sitting next to Donald Trump. No, it's called class. It's called dignity. It's what a current president should do for an incoming president for a smooth transition of power. That's exactly what Joe Biden did, and somehow far right-wing Republicans out there are attacking liberals for this. The fact that Joe Biden showed Donald Trump some class in the White House, I don't know. But hey, so this is a luxury, ladies and gentlemen, and this is not something you get to do certainly on a daily basis, and it's really, really a pleasure for me to be able to do this because it's not every day you get to speak to a former president. It's not every day you get to speak to a current president, and it's not every day you get to speak to a future president of the United States. So without further ado, I don't want to wait and make this guy wait any longer. It is an honor and a privilege to not only introduce the 45th president of the United States, but the future 47th president of the United States. Joining us right now on the line, I know he's had a very busy day, so I really appreciate him taking the time to join us. Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, first of all, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations.
Absolutely. You've been such. Go ahead, congratulate me.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of the job.
Well, I was going to congratulate you on the win last week, and I know you met Joe Biden in the White House today. How did that go, Mr. President?
I met Sleepy Joe, and I have to tell you something, Brian. I have been far too hard on him, far too mean. I've said a lot of insulting things, and I take it all back.
Really? Wow, is this a different Donald J. Trump we're hearing today, Mr. President?
No, I'm just kidding. He's a freaking idiot. I cannot believe it. He's like mentally deficient. He's walking around in circles. What a moron. Can you believe this? I haven't changed one bit. I'm meaner than ever.
Okay, fair. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. You got me there for a second, Mr. President. If you don't mind me asking you, how did it go today? I mean, I know you shook Joe Biden's hand.
It went great. I showed him some shiny objects, and he was totally entranced. It was unbelievable. I left an upper decker in the Oval Office bathroom. Wait till he gets that one.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be incredible.
Wow. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, come on, man. Oh, no joke. It's no joke. That's all he said. He said like 50 times. I actually thought it was Dana Carvey. I thought they were pulling a prank on me. It was really him.
I like Dana
Really
Carvey.
him.
So, Mr. President,
I like Dana Carvey too. Did you see the video of Joe Biden on the beach?
I did.
Delaware,
he was
trying
struggling to walk.
negotiate the
Yeah,
sand?
he was struggling.
Negotiate. The man can't walk in sand. He can't walk in sand. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that was sad to see.
Jill was there with her hand up his butt just to keep him going.
I didn't see that, but
it went great. It went great.
Good.
I'm all ready to go. I can move in tomorrow. We have such an incredible cabinet lined up. We have so many incredible people. I just got off the phone with Joe Rogan. He will be the head of the FCC. And if you want a podcast, you're going to have to talk to him first. He's going to be the man in command with that one. Judge Jeanine was a female Attorney General of the United States. She's a spicy meatball. Let me tell you, she must have been a real firecracker in her day. Department of Labor, we just nailed down Tyrese from the 5 on Fox News. He looks like a laborer, and he talks like a laborer. So we're set with that. The whole list is just coming together beautifully. You've read about some of the other ones. We've got defense. We've got Pete Hegseth.
Yeah.
You know about this, right? In the paper.
Yeah.
It's incredible. The last guy was a 4-star general, Central Command, has led people all over the world, has been in active combat, and I'm putting in the weekend co-host of Fox and Friends. It's going to be so incredible.
Yeah, it does sound like it's incredible, Mr. President. I want to ask you this, though. I have to ask you this, Mr. President. Joe Biden invites you to the White House for a smooth transition. Why didn't you give him the same respect, though? I mean, you're getting criticized for that. 4 years ago, you didn't give him the same respect. Why is that, Mr. President?
Because he'd already been there. He'd already been there for 8 years. He knows the place. He knew the place in and out. He didn't need me to welcome him.
All right. I mean, that's one way to put it, I guess. I guess some people are saying you didn't give him the same respect that he gave you today. I mean, it seemed like you guys were joking around with one another, though, and having a good time. Can you share with us anything that was said?
No, I honestly didn't understand a word he said. It's all kind of like pops and clicks. He doesn't know. It goes in and out of a consciousness.
Fair enough. Why is it, Mr. President, that you won, so everybody seems to think it's a free and fair election, but when you lose, it's not fair, right? I mean, some people are questioning that. Why is it when you win, it seems to be fair, but when you lose, it's not fair?
Well, let me tell you something. I think it came down to the wokeism and the wokeness and the wokeability of the very woke Democrats. That's all it really was. You know what I mean? And obviously when I ran, there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands of accusations of, dead people. Remember I said 5,000 dead people voted in Georgia?
Right.
In Georgia. Those dead people were so tired of the wokeism, even they did not rise up from the dead this time to vote. This is how bad it was for the Democrats. It was so bad.
Why do you want to give up all these? You talk about these woke 4- and 5-star generals, and you want to get rid of wokeism in the military. Can you expand on that? What do you mean by that, Mr. President?
I don't like woke. I think woke is it's a virus. It's like the Trump derangement syndrome. It's wokeness. It's very wokeability. It's the woke factor that has made our country very woke, and we're getting rid of the woke. It's exactly what we're doing.
Where's Melania? I always ask you this question every time you come on, Mr. President. Why is it that you have Elon Musk in these family pictures, but Melania is again nowhere to be found? It's almost like she's going to be. Yeah, go ahead.
He's the new Melania. He's the new Melania. He has an accent. Listen. I'm going to be honest with you. Melania loves privacy. She's out promoting her book. She's trying to get book sales. I don't know what the hell a book is, but it's probably a bag. It's probably a Birkin bag or something like that. But she's her own person. And listen, J.D. Vance is into this whole. J.D. Vance is like, women should stay home and do this and do that. Frankly, I don't really care, but he should shut the hell up because honestly, this guy, his wife's an attorney. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So listen, I'm going to be honest. We don't get along. I'm not the easiest guy to get along with. Just so you know.
We have that in
Just so
common.
you know.
We have that in common,
Yes.
Mr. President. I can relate to that.
And look, I'm going to be back in office, so I'm going to be straight up.
I heard that.
She's not always going to be there. It's as simple as that. She may be there part-time.
It seems like she's using the White House as an Airbnb, but I could be wrong on that.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
Listen, I think using the Airbnb would bring us in some real money. I don't have to be there. I don't have to be there. We could probably wipe out the national debt making that an Airbnb. There's a lot of bedrooms. Can you imagine?
If you sold out a room, if you sold out a room in the White House while you were there, I would certainly spend a night there, no question. Speaking of,
I think a lot of people would. A lot of people would. We can really make it incredible. Have a great breakfast.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree. Just like Mar-a-Lago, I agree. You should turn it into Mar-a-Lago. But speaking of spending the night, your attorney Haba. Apparently, there's rumors. Yeah, there's rumors that she's going to be the next press secretary. I don't know. Can you give us any insight on Miss Haba?
Habadabadoo. That's what I call her. I can't wait to be close to her again. She's going to be the secretary of shoulder massages. Let me tell you. Did you know that did you know when I first started with her, she had one client, a parking lot in New York City. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I'm not kidding. Yeah, look it up.
I did, but she lost. I don't understand, though, Mr. President. Is it only because what she looks like? And with all due respect, the only reason why I say that is because she lost. She lost your case. She didn't win. I thought you only liked winners, not losers. Wouldn't you consider her a loser?
No, I wouldn't. You know why?
Why?
Because that case is going to disappear. Disappear. She won on a technicality. And as Roy Cohen used to say, no matter how you win, it's a win.
Yeah.
So we're going to win that one. It'll be fine. Judge Angeron can go pound sand for Jack Smith. He's winding down all of my cases.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Judge, the other judge, Eileen Cannon, I've got her on the short list to be on the Supreme Court because she just dismissed 11,300 pieces of evidence, and she dismissed the case. You know what's so funny? I always accuse the Democrats of being the deep state, but I'm the deep state. I'm the deep state. Joke's on them.
Wow, interesting. Well, Mr. President, I guess I have to ask you, the next 4 years, if you could give people a rundown on the things that you want to get accomplished and the things you want to do in your administration. What do you want to get done here in the next 4 years in your last term here?
Well, I want to improve my putting game. I feel I could definitely improve that. And I want to get my overall numbers down. And my handicap, I think I could move my handicap by 2 points. By 2 points at least. I think that would be incredible. But I did release a list of everything I want to do. You know, we've got Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon working on, the Department of, what the hell do they call it again? The Department of,
But you're the president. You should know that.
Hold on. It's a new thing. It's a new thing. It's the Department of Government Efficiency.
There you go.
Doge.
Yep.
It's Doge, like the Dogecoin. So we're promoting the Dogecoin, and we're gonna cut a lot of. We're gonna cut that up. We're getting rid of the Department of Education because I love the poorly educated, and they can't be poorly educated if they're getting educated. So we're getting rid of that. You've read about that. We're getting rid of the woke. We're going to work very hard on getting rid of the wokeism. There'll be no money for transgenders at all. You probably saw the video on this I released yesterday.
Yes.
If you're a doctor and you help out with the woke, the trans stuff, you'll be arrested and deported to Brazil because they have a lot of them there. They love them there. We have so many things we're going to do. We're going to cut a lot of stuff. But people are going to be very happy. They're going to be very happy.
Well,
under Biden, women's boobs were very small. We're going to be enlarging them again. It's going to be incredible.
Melania's got smaller? I didn't know that.
No, not Melania. No, she's. We always check those. She has to weigh in every month, and we check boob size.
Who is checking? Are you doing that, or is Matt Gaetz doing that?
I always get the best people.
Okay.
I always get the best people. It's funny you mentioned Matt Gaetz. I haven't heard from him in a while.
I don't know.
That's really interesting.
Maybe he's Venmoing people. I don't know, Mr. President.
Probably.
I guess my last question for you, Mr. President, we really do appreciate your time, is will Brian Shapiro have a spot in your administration?
Yeah, you will. You'll be arrested arrested and you'll be in a D.C. jail. So you'll be close by. We're going to have you on reserve, Brian. We're going to have you on reserve.
I think that might be the only truthful thing that you've said in this entire interview.
And by the way, we're in transportation. We're getting rid of that gay guy, Pete Buttigieg, and we're going with the real man, Greg Gutfeld. So we're going to have some real people.
That's right.
And you'll be very happy because in Treasury, I haven't named that person yet, but I'm trying to get a Jewish guy. So maybe that would be for you.
That's not anti-Semitic at all. Wow, interesting.
No. I love the Jewish people. They're the only ones I trust with money.
Well, I didn't vote for you, so apparently I need to get my head examined because you have made statements
You should. 51% of the country. Listen, you're in Las Vegas. Your city voted for me overwhelmingly.
Well, I mean, the
Some
state
of your
did.
top entertainers.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Kid Rock, Hulk Hogan. You have a lot of top entertainers that.
Well, I'm not going to out anybody in Las Vegas, but you know the people.
I do.
They've got shows.
They do.
They've got shows. They went for me.
They did.
And I have some of the top actors in Hollywood. You know that.
The top
I've got
ones?
Scott Baio. Scott Baio. I've got John Voight. I've got Kevin Sorbo. I've got Jim Caviezel.
You're
And
right.
he's Jesus.
Those are
Jesus.
Chachi is definitely one of the best actors of my generation. I agree.
And you know what? I saw somebody say something very mean about Chachi because he read my enemies list, the actors' enemies. Did you see that video?
I did. Yes, I did.
They called him Chachi Nazi. Can you believe that?
Yeah, how disrespectful. Well, speaking of which,
Chachi Nazi.
Speaking
I like it. It kind of rolls off the tongue.
Since you brought it up, Mr. President, speaking of Nazi, what are your thoughts on Stephen Miller? Because a lot of people think that he's mini Adolf Hitler.
No, he's very tall. He's much taller than regular Hitler. Very tall. He's something else, man. I have to tell you, that guy is something else. I mean, I don't know what he eats for breakfast, but wow. He just goes and goes and goes. You know what I mean? It's going to be very interesting. I'm putting him in charge. He's the czar. He's the czar. Like Kamala was the czar, but he's going to actually get something done. We're just going to be catapulting Mexicans over the wall. It's just going to be boom,
wow.
boom,
like a trampoline, or how would you do?
Wow. Oh no, like a real true catapult. You know what I mean? We found that'll be the speediest way to get them back to Mexico.
With kids? You're going to catapult kids also?
With kids, without kids,
Wow.
I don't care. Just get them out of here.
Just get them out. All right, fair enough. Well,
Just get them out.
Mr. President, I appreciate you stating the case. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
If you can please put your manager on the phone, John Domenico, that would be much appreciated, Mr. President. Thank you for the time. John Domenico, everybody. The gift that keeps on giving with the best.
A tidal wave of material. Every time he names another secretary in the cabinet, I have to get off the floor and splash water on my face.
You're a very busy man, and I have a feeling that you're going to be very busy for the next 4 years, John. Right?
Yeah, I'll be busy. The question is, can I make money?
I think
There's
you will.
There's a difference between money and working.
That is
actually
very true. But when's the next time you're going to be on the Stern Show? That's what your appearances on the Stern are so good.
Yeah, that probably came to an end with Trump winning.
Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. You are the best Trump impersonator on the planet. Please give out your social medias and all that stuff. You have a ton of followers, but please give that out.
It's the Johnny D Show on virtually every platform. 5.8 million on TikTok. We got 133,000 on YouTube. Just find me, put my name, just put in the Johnny D Show. I come up and follow me.
And you're still going to be doing the press conferences, right, on Fridays?
No, we actually the press conferences. The way when I started that like a year and a half ago, I said that will end with the election.
Gotcha.
So we're going to do one more in a couple of weeks to answer all the final questions. Kind of wrap it all up. Say thank you, and I'll just go back to making videos. I'm currently on the road. I'm in Florida doing a show, a corporate show. But once I get back, I'm just going to shoot a ton of stuff.
Say hello to Ron
There's
DeSantis
so
for me
much
out
to
there.
cover.
Say hello to Ronnie D.
that?
Say hello to Ron DeSantis out there for me, man. John, you are brilliant, and you know how much I love your work, and I always
Thank you, brother.
so greatly appreciate it when you always take the time to come on. Something tells me Donald Trump will be joining us again soon. John D. Domenico, you are the best, my friend, and I'm happy to call you a friend. Thank you. Have safe
All right,
travels.
friend.
Okay, take
See
care.
you, man. Bye.
Bye-bye. The very funny and talented John D. Domenico, everybody, from Howard Stern Show fame. The crazy part about it is when I interview John as Donald Trump, there are so many people out there that think it's a real interview for a couple different reasons. Number one, because he sounds like Donald Trump. But number two, the things he says are things that Donald Trump would say. That's how crazy it is. So, I mean, John's the best, and I appreciate it. All right, so here's what we are going to do. We're going to take a lot of calls in hour number 2. But before we do that, I want to give you a preview of what we're going to be doing next segment. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about Mike Huckabee and the crazy things he said. Yes, the new ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. But I want to do a lot on this guy, Pete Hegseth, and a lot on his personal life and a lot of the things he said on the air even recently that are you-know-what crazy. So we're going to get into that when we come back. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYou101.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits. Thank you so much for joining us. Please join me. I'm there on a regular basis, the official gaming bar of Pushing the Limits. Of course, I'm talking about Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. I met some listeners there the other day. Great food, great atmosphere. Man, you want to talk about a good steak. Yes. Great eats there, and great promotions, too. They have the Pass the Puck contest where you can win up to $500 in free slot play just for sitting there and playing and watching the Vegas Golden Knights Hockey Club, as I would like to call them. Other promotions like how to earn a free bottle of wine and free prime rib. Check them out. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. And I also invite all of you to check out the website, which is pushingthelimits.live. It's an independently owned radio show, so we rely on great people like yourselves to help keep the lights on here and keep doing what we do. How do you do that? Pushingthelimits.live. You can buy merchandise up there in the shopping section. Shirts, hats, beanies, you name it, we sell it. Also, the donation button right on the front page. $5, $10, $20 a month, whatever you can afford. We greatly appreciate it. So check us out at pushingthelimits.live. All right, so Donald Trump has hired some new people. Some people controversial, some people with a lack of experience, some people with no moral compass. One of those people that Donald Trump just hired, and the news came out yesterday, is a guy by the name of Pete Hegseth, who never got his own show on Fox News, but was a weekend anchor on Fox News. Now, he is the Secretary of Defense. And some people would say, is this the best person that Donald Trump could find? It doesn't matter whether you're J.D. Vance or Ron DeSantis, John McCain. I always respect anybody's service to this nation. And as we do know, and I will never, and nobody should take that away from him, Pete Hegseth is a hero. He served this country honorably, and I will always have the utmost respect for that. With that being said, he's a complete douchebag. Why do I say that? Well, first of all, he helped get a murderer pardoned. That's number one. That's probably something on the checklist of somebody that's not a very good human being. But even more importantly, he's a serial cheater. He cheated on his first wife with a coworker. He cheated on his second wife with a Fox News employee that he had a child with, and that ex-wife had to file a lawsuit against him. And of course, he's a devout Christian, right? Because it's usually the devout Christians that call themselves, people of God, people of Jesus, who impregnate other women while they're married. He's not a good guy. I respect his service to this country. He's a douchebag. And he's also been wearing the Donald Trump knee pads every single day. He has not been capable, like so many on Fox News, of criticizing Donald Trump for anything. Anything. So I want you to listen to the serial cheating douchebag himself, Pete Hegseth, complaining about his own people. Complaining that sometimes veterans are using government for benefits too much. Yes, that's right, folks. He's saying people that risk their life for this country, that put it all out on the line, shouldn't be getting handouts. Have a listen to this.
Groups out there, vets groups mostly, encourage vets to apply for every government benefit they can ever get after they leave the service. Because, well, why not, right? The government's giving it out. To me, the ethos of service is I serve my country because I love my country, and I'm going to come home and start the next chapter of my life. And if I've got a chronic condition, mental, physical, otherwise, the government better be there for me. But otherwise, I don't want to be dependent if I don't have to be.
You got to have personal integrity.
And right now, a lot of groups are convincing vets to give, get, take more from the system as opposed to just what you need for the service you gave.
And you compare the budget here in
Yeah, taking too much from the system. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, the man who he supports and coddles every day, and now the man who he's going to be working for, giving the biggest tax breaks to the top 1%. But Pete Hegseth thinks it's about personal integrity, because if you risk your life for this country, you better not overuse those benefits from the government. I mean, this is the guy that's going to be the Secretary of Defense. Are you kidding me? And he's also a misogynist pig. Besides being a habitual cheater, a man who goes out and impregnates women that he works with while he's married. He also said not that long ago, if memory serves me right, this is like less than a week ago, while getting interviewed, he said he doesn't think women should serve in combat roles. Have a listen to this.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective, hasn't made us more lethal, has made fighting more complicated. We've all served with women, and they're great. It just, our institutions don't have to incentivize that in places where not traditionally, over human history, men in those positions are more capable.
Absolutely and abundantly ridiculous. First of all, let's be very clear here. If you can pass the physical tests that are needed to be on the combat field, it shouldn't matter what is between your legs. And I can tell you right now, there are a lot of tough women out there in this country that would kick his ass and mine. I want those tough women that are heroes serving this country. I want them on the battlefield if they can pass the necessary test needed. But Pete Hegseth, who is a misogynist pig and a bigot, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter to him. I guarantee you that there are men serving in the military right now, most of whom are tough and heroes, They're all heroes as far as I'm concerned. However, I guarantee you there are some women that are physically stronger than some of the men. I'm not saying the majority of the men, but some. So why should those women not be allowed to serve? I'll tell you why. Because Pete Hegseth is a pig. Because Pete Hegseth has treated women poorly his entire life. Because Pete Hegseth is a misogynist. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the new Secretary of Defense. The weekend anchor on Fox News who doesn't think that women should be in combat roles. The weekend anchor on Fox News who thinks sometimes it should be about personal integrity and you shouldn't overuse the government when you come home from war and need health benefits. He is a disgusting pig. Now, I want to play you some of this audio that not a lot of people have heard. And it's new audio and video that's come out that a listener had sent me. This is Pete Hegseth the morning of January 6th when we had the January 6th insurrection. Remember that day? Well, guess what? Pete Hegseth was doing some stand-ups for Fox News. And Pete Hegseth is part of the reason why January 6th happened. Now, why do I say that? Well, I want you to listen to his hyping up of what was a coup, an attempted coup on January 6th. This is Pete Hegseth hours before we had the January 6th insurrection live on Fox.
Stop the steal, stop the steal. And we saw it coming out of Georgia. That 70% of Republicans who believe that the election in November was not legitimate, that it was stolen, that may have had an effect on Georgia, but no doubt it has an effect on the hearts of this city right now, of Americans. I have friends who've texted me who are not very political saying, I'm coming to Washington, D.C. today because I can't handle what's happening in my country. I think it's not an understatement to say we're in a constitutional tinderbox right now with people on both sides believing there's legitimacy and illegitimacy based on things they feel in their heart and love of their country. Donald Trump will articulate a lot of that today from the stage. He'll have thousands of supporters here and dozens of senators and congressmen on the House of Representatives objecting with that long debate that will go on and on. Will the rally go on longer and longer? We'll see. There were arrests last night. Will there be contention tonight? That's a possibility as well.
Yeah, that's a possibility. You frickin' idiot. You disgrace. You're a disgrace to the military, as far as I'm concerned. You're an election denier. You hype up people for the January 6th coup. You're a habitual liar and cheater. You've treated women horribly your entire life. You're a misogynist pig who doesn't think that women should be serving in combat roles. And you're somebody who thinks that at times those who serve this country honorably might be overusing the government's help when they have health issues, and it's about personal integrity. You are a douchebag, you are a scumbag, and you're a January 6th hype man for a coup. And you're also very, very weird. I'll play this clip as well. And this clip might not be as important as some of the other clips that I played. But, you know, you always worry in the workplace, like when you're shaking somebody's hand and they just came out of the restroom, you know, and you think to yourself, oh boy, was he just touching his junk? I hope that guy washed his hands. Well, guess what? Not in the case of Pete Hegseth. Good thing he's not in charge of anything health-wise. But I want you to listen to Pete Hegseth tell us when the last time was he washed his hands. Have a listen to this.
I don't think I've washed my hands for 10 years. Really, I don't really wash my hands ever.
Help me.
No, I inoculate myself. It's just not, germs are not a real thing. I can't see them. Therefore, they're not real.
So you're becoming immune to all of the
exactly.
bacteria.
I can't get sick.
I can't get sick. Well, I'll tell you what probably makes a lot of women sick. When Pete Hegseth cheated on his wives, because he's cheated on several of them, let's just assume that he had intimate relations with them. And then he went home without washing his hands. God knows what he did with his hands and fingers with some of these women that he cheated on. And then he went home to his real wife and didn't wash his hands. I want you all to think about that for a second. How, first of all, the behavior, which is disgusting, and second of all, physically, how disgusting it is. It makes me want to throw up. But, you know, he's the next Secretary of Defense for Donald Trump. I almost think it's a prerequisite, if you're at Fox News, that you must cheat on a spouse. That it's a prerequisite that you have to be a douchebag. You have to be a misogynist pig, maybe even a bigot or a racist. In this case, certainly misogyny with Pete Hegseth, who doesn't think that women should be in combat roles. He doesn't think, or he does think, that there are people that have served this country that need personal integrity because they might be using the government too much for health benefits. Yeah, that's right. How about his over-the-top celebration the morning of January 6th as being a attempted coup hype man? That's exactly what he was, live on the air. People on both sides think there are a lot of issues in this election. And, there were some arrests yesterday. We'll see what happens today. But there's a lot of people that are angry where this country's at. He was a hype man for January 6th. How despicable, right? Somebody, and I say this about brave men and women who've served this country, and then they come back home and they're election deniers, and they do what this douchebag, Pete Hegseth, has done. How could you be a woman and be okay with this appointee? How? The way he's treated women his whole life? What he thinks of you? He thinks lesser of you than a man. He said it. He openly said it a week ago. And you can't say, wow, that was years ago. He's changed his position. No, he said a week ago he doesn't think women should be in combat roles. Do you realize how ridiculous that is? You have a woman who's strong mentally and physically and tough, and she's willing to risk her life for this country, but Pete Hegseth is going to look her in the eyes and say, you can't fight for us. You can't be on the battlefield. But why? I passed all the tests, physical and mental. Why? Because of what you have between your legs. I have this and you have that. That's what Pete Hegseth is saying, because he is a misogynist pig douchebag. He's a douche is what he is. He's a bad guy. And he's talentless. Even on Fox News, they wouldn't give him his own show. So he wasn't capable of getting his own show on Fox News. Certainly not capable of not cheating on a woman. And the only thing he's been capable of for years is wearing the Donald Trump knee pads and kissing Donald Trump's ass, and that's exactly why Donald Trump hired him. Donald Trump doesn't care about the safety and security of this country. Donald Trump doesn't care about the economy. Donald Trump doesn't care about women. Donald Trump only cares about himself. So, Brian, you might be saying, Brian, why did he hire him then? Because Pete Hegseth is an ass kisser. He's going to never challenge Donald Trump on anything. He's a yes man. Ladies and gentlemen, your next Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Oh, and it gets worse. This was a controversy that started yesterday. So his name is Mike Huckabee. I call him Mike Suckabee, and his daughter, Sarah Suckabee Sanders. They're despicable people. And Mike Huckabee is the new ambassador to Israel. So think about all those pro-Palestinian people who protested outside the DNC. Think of all those pro-Palestinian people who may have voted for Donald Trump. They were anti-Joe Biden. They were anti-Kamala Harris. Well, Donald Trump just hired the ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, who literally is caught on tape denying the existence of the Palestinian people. I want you to listen to this closely, and then we'll discuss.
Palestinian state, but it doesn't have to be in Israel. Yeah. So what do you think about it? What should have been?
And basically, I mean, there really is no such thing as, and I have to be careful in saying this because people will really get upset. There's really no such thing as a Palestinian. There's not.
Finally, before 1948, there was all Arabs. I mean, it was
Arabs and Persians. You don't, and there's such complexity within that. There's really no such thing. That's been a political tool to try to force land away from Israel. What my point is, if that's the issue, if it's real estate, if you look at a map and say, here's how much Israel has, and here's how much the Arab states hold, there's plenty of land for them to have, let them take it out of Egypt, let them take it out of Syria, let them take it out of Jordan. There are plenty of places for this to be without sacrificing the Golan Heights, which would be suicide, utter suicide. And what worries me is, we've got to respect Israel's decisions to self-govern, but when I hear some of their leaders talking about giving up the Golan Heights, I'm thinking.
Now, I can go on and play that, but the most important parts of that clip, which he said back in 2008, by the way, no such thing as a Palestinian. Now, listen. I support Israel, of course, as I think most of you do. They're our allies. I'm Jewish. As a Jewish person, I can tell you what Mike Huckabee just said is disgusting and repugnant. There's no such thing as a Palestinian. Have you ever heard Kamala Harris talk like that? Have you ever heard Joe Biden talk like that? Look at about all the criticism from these pro-Palestinians out there. Pro-Palestinians holding up their signs about genocide, and Genocide Joe, they called him, and Kamala Harris. How do you think it's going to look like when Mike Huckabee takes over, and he doesn't even think that there's any such thing as a Palestinian. These are his words, not mine. He's endorsed ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. And this is the guy who was in charge. Where are all you protesters now? How do you think this is going to go down? Again, he's the ambassador to Israel. Silence, right? You voted for Donald Trump? Silence. And I do find it very interesting that stories have come out that Scott Jennings, the CNN contributor, who I think is a complete condescending buffoon, is vying for the communications job, the White House communications director, because he's another Donald Trump ass kisser. That story really doesn't surprise me at all. But I want you to listen to this exchange that Scott Jennings had on CNN yesterday. They talk a little bit about Pete Hegseth, and I want you to listen at the end of this clip what he says about Pete Hegseth's service, and then we'll talk about the hypocrisy. Listen to this.
They've got to perform. They've got to perform. I mean, we got 53 U.S. senators that are Republicans, and Pete Hegseth, he's an American hero. The man won 2 Bronze Stars for his service, and he's been a champion for veterans. I mean, he's going to have to go up there just like everybody else and prove his knowledge of how to do this job. He's not immune from that, but we ought to give this man a chance, in my opinion.
He's an American hero. Okay. Scott Jennings is the same guy who said Tim Walz stolen valor. So if you're a Democrat who serves for 24 years, to score political points, you'll say it was stolen valor. Scott Jennings was one of those guys who said that. But when it comes to a far-right MAGA Republican who Donald Trump hires, he's an American hero. Has Scott Jennings ever called Tim Walz an American hero? Has Scott Jennings ever called anybody on the left an American hero? I'm just posing that question. I'm just asking. So when Biden nominated a black 4-star general and former Commander Lloyd Austin as Secretary of Defense, so many on the right called it a DEI hire, and they talk about wokeness. But when Trump nominates a white Fox News host to be Secretary of Defense, it's all on merit. Gosh, I find that very interesting, don't you? I want to repeat that because I think this is really important. When Lloyd Austin was hired as Secretary of Defense, so many on the far right, and this was a 4-star general, decorated. It was a DEI hire. Lloyd Austin, the far right, screamed out, DEI. DEI hire. But if a weekend Fox News host who's bigoted in nature is assigned to the Secretary of Defense, it's all on merit. It's all merit-based. You see a pattern here, ladies and gentlemen? Do you follow me? It doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you're on. Do you see what we're doing here when they talk about woke generals? Why do they always go after the generals of color? Is that what they mean by woke? Go ahead and take a look at Lloyd Austin's resume. They called him a DEI hire. Why is that? I'll tell you why that is. Because this administration is going to be predominantly white. This administration is not going to be serious. When you look at the people that he's already put in his cabinet, it's a joke. But par for the course for MAGA Republicans, because as long as they keep his administration white, and as long as they keep his administration for those that will be loyal to him, no matter whether he's right or wrong, that's all that Donald Trump cares about. People that will kiss his feet. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, Pete Hegseth will do that. The right-wing evangelical nut, Mike Huckabee, will do that. Stefanik will do it. Vivek Ramaswamy will do it. And so many others that he's put in that administration will kiss his feet. All right, we'll open up the phone lines at 702-221-7283. And again, that number to call, 702-221-7283. Some of the topics that we're talking about today, of course, Pete Hegseth, who is a habitual liar and cheater with, in my personal opinion, not a lot of morals. I understand he served this country honorably, but now he's talking about personal integrity and how those who serve this country shouldn't overuse the government for health reasons. He's talking about how women shouldn't serve in combat roles. I want to ask you guys that question. Now that we're on that topic, do you agree with Pete Hegseth? Do you think that women shouldn't serve in combat roles? Just men. Women shouldn't serve. Is that the guy you want to be the Secretary of Defense? Is that who you want? So we're going to remain on topic here. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about Pete Hegseth, the purge of woke generals that Donald Trump apparently is going to be implementing. Why do they always seem to be black? I'm just wondering. Talking about Mike Huckabee saying that there should be no such thing as a Palestinian. I'm wondering where all those pro-Palestinian people are today. How come they're not protesting the hire of Mike Huckabee to be Trump's pick as ambassador to Israel? So those are the issues that we're talking about today. And we're also talking about Donald Trump's visit to the White House. Oh, yeah, that's right. Joe Biden invited Donald Trump to the White House. And Melania Trump, who declined, said she had a scheduling conflict, because I'm sure that's what it is. Listen, she's going to have scheduling conflicts in every other area wherever Donald Trump is. Let's be clear on that one. But, you know, Joe Biden puts out his hand. He shakes Donald Trump's hand. He congratulates him, and he shows him respect. In turn, 4 years ago, Donald Trump sent him a note, put it in a cabinet in the White House, didn't invite him to the White House. There was no smooth transition. It's because Joe Biden has something called dignity and character, and Donald Trump does not. But yet the far right, again, they want to, oh, look at how happy Joe Biden is. He's so happy that Donald Trump was elected. No, he's not, you stupid idiots, you imbeciles, you MAGA inbreds. He's not happy that Donald Trump won. He's a man of class and dignity, and he showed that. And Donald Trump shows every day he has no class and no dignity. Number to call, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Tricia. Tricia is first up on PTL. Hello, Tricia.
Oh, my God. Thank you. I've been trying for 3 weeks to get on.
Oh, well, thank you.
Bad for me, good for you that your phone is so busy.
Well, thank you for calling in, Tricia. What's on your mind today?
I want to bring up a very important point that neither you or even CNN mentioned about the 2020 election. I don't know if you know this, Brian, but do you know that Trump paid Simpatico Software Systems and Berkeley Research Group, both of them, $750,000 to do an evaluation about the 2020 election? All right? Mm-hmm. Were you aware of that?
I was not aware of that, but I think we have a pretty good understanding of what happened, right?
Okay. Ken Block was in charge of the Simpatico software system. He even wrote a book, Brian, called Disproven, My Unbiased Search for Voter Fraud for the Trump Campaign, Why He Lost and How We Can Improve Elections. He wrote a book about this.
Okay, so
I think it's very...
Well, okay, but hold on a second. Let's go back to what I said, even in regards to today. Here's what we know, and I'm not sure, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, that I need to read a book so we all can understand what happened. What happened was Joe Biden won a free and fair election. Donald Trump lost. He incited an insurrection. He's continued to lie about the 2020 election and voter integrity and cheating because he won. All those conversations now have gone away once again, just like 2016. We know that a lot of people committed a lot of heinous acts on that day, and I believe Donald Trump is probably going to be pardoning a lot of those people, maybe some of them who attacked police officers. Yeah. We understand what took place in 2020, and unlike the MAGA morons out there that still think the 2020 election was stolen, as I said the following day, I accept the results of it. I asked a few questions about why people didn't turn out, but I've never said that the Republicans cheated. There is no insurrection. Democrats aren't trying to overthrow a free and fair election. And today was another example of class and dignity versus just an awful human being. Joe Biden showed class and dignity today with Donald Trump. And that's the way I look at it, my dear. And I'm sure it's a great book, but I don't think we all need to read a book to know what happened in 2020 and what's happening now. But I appreciate your call, my dear. Call back anytime. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Jose. Jose is next up on PTL. Hey, Jose, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Brian? First of all, I'm Puerto Rican, and I'm kind of pissed off for the Latinos that voted for this punk, first of all. And I thank you for everything you've been trying to do for the country, man.
Thank you. Can I ask you a question?
That's the reason I'm calling.
May I ask you something, sir? As a Latino, what do you make of the fact, and if memory serves me right, I could be wrong on the statistics, but almost half of Latinos voted for Donald Trump. What do you make of that?
Man, I hate it, man. I hate it because they don't understand what they're trying to do with that 2025 thing. They think that they're only gonna deport one person. They probably deport the whole damn family, and they don't watch the news, man.
I think you're right.
Understand what's going on.
I think you're right. There's a lot of good people out there. I've never stated that everyone who voted for Donald Trump is a bad person. I think there's a lot of good people out there that are very ill-informed. I think you hit the nail on the head, Jose. There's a lot of people that, if they do watch news, they're watching the wrong news. They're watching Newsmax or OAN or Fox News, and you're listening to propaganda, right? And when people listen to something over and over again, even Donald Trump said this, they're going to believe it. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that are very ill-informed. People don't seem to understand that they want to deport 20 million people. Now, whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know, Jose. But what we do know is there's a lot of people out there that are very scared. And I do think that Project 2025 is getting implemented right before our eyes, Jose. But you hit the nail right on the head. There's a lot of people in this country that are very ill-informed to facts. It could be facts about the economy. It could be facts about the elections. It could be facts on things Donald Trump wants to do, things that he has said in the past, his behavior, his criminality. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Patrick. Patrick is next up on PTL. Hello, Patrick.
Yo, it's MAGA Patrick.
Okay.
I just want to be the first one to congratulate none other than our new Attorney General, the person that you will call a sexual trafficker, a terrible, despicable human being, none other than Matt Gaetz, my man. How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about Matt Gaetz being appointed to the Attorney General? Is the same I feel about Pete same way.
I haven't heard you cry about Matt Gaetz yet.
Okay, are you going to shut up? Are you going to
Gaetz.
shut up and let me answer your question, or are you going to interrupt me and talk over me? Which one is it, Patrick?
Why haven't you talked about
Patrick?
Matt Gaetz?
Shut up and let me answer. Stop interrupting me. That means you shut up. If you're not capable, I'm going to move on to the next caller. You asked me a question about Matt Gaetz. I'm going to answer it. So Matt Gaetz hung around with a lot of criminals. One of his best friends is still in jail right now, the tax man, if you recall. Matt Gaetz was being investigated for having sex with an underage girl. That investigation is still going. They reopened that investigation with his Venmo and all that other stuff. Matt Gaetz, can you name me one serious policy or one serious bill?
Hey, you hear about the
Let
Jack
me
Smith
finish.
case?
Let me finish answering the question, you dope. I'm asking you a question now. You don't interrupt me when I'm asking you a question. Now it's my turn. That means you shut up and listen, and then I'll be quiet. Hopefully you'll answer it directly. If you don't, I'll move on to the next caller. Can you name me a bill that Matt Gaetz was a part of that he put into law that's benefiting the country? Go.
Probably the same amount of bills that Kamala Harris.
Didn't ask you about Kamala Harris. The question was about Matt Gaetz, you dope. I'm going to ask it one more time. Don't play your stupid whataboutism and your crap for brain MAGA head. Can you name me a bill that Matt Gaetz was a part of or endorsed that helped the country? Go. He's a lawmaker,
no,
right?
Remember, he got rid of McCarthy.
Didn't ask you who he got rid of. That was not the question. The question wasn't about Kamala Harris, and it wasn't about helping to get rid of Mr. McCarthy. I'll ask you one more time. He's the AG. You seem to be very happy about the appointee. He's been a lawmaker for years now. Name me a bill that he endorsed and he was a huge part of that's working for the country. Go.
Well, they turned down the bill that he put forth on trying.
Have a nice day, jackass. Have a nice day, jackass. You can't name one bill that Matt Gaetz put forward. You asked me, how do you feel about Matt Gaetz? I gave you my answer. He's not a lawmaker. He's a noisemaker. And MAGA Patrick, thank you so much for proving my point for me. That's how I feel about Matt Gaetz, because we have idiots like you who call into this show and you're so happy about these appointees. Look at this Matt Gaetz guy. And then when I ask you, name me one bill that he's passed, you can't name one bill. So what the hell has he been doing in the halls of Congress? What has he been doing? I'll tell you what he's been doing. Nothing. He's been probably banging underage girls. He's a noisemaker, and he's not a lawmaker, and you're an idiot. Next time you call into this show and you ask me about somebody, for example, if I asked you about Kamala Harris, I would be able to give you some policies and some things that she's been a part of in the Biden administration that I approve of. Matt Gaetz is not a policymaker. He's not a lawmaker. He's a noisemaker. And you are a MAGA buffoon. 702-221-7283. 7283 is the number to call. I really like that Matt Gaetz guy. What do you think about him? Well, here's what I think about him. Can you name me anything that he's done when he's been in Congress? No, I can't. But what do you think about him? These people are so stupid. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Lou. Lou is next up on PTL. Hey, Lou, what's going on, man?
Hey, Brian. Hey, I'm glad I follow MAGA callers because that's my daily therapy session.
I mean, am I wrong?
Hey,
Lou, am I wrong? I mean, Matt Gaetz has done nothing in Congress. He's literally done nothing.
He's a troublemaker. He's a troublemaker.
Yeah.
But we're a laughingstock around the world. And did you hear that Tulsi Gabbard is Trump's pick for Director of Intelligence?
I did hear that was a rumor. I don't know if that's official yet.
I saw that on my telephone. So she's compromised just like Trump. What a joke.
Yeah, this administration is not going to go very well. There's a lot of bad people that he's already hired, including Matt Gaetz, by the way. But Pete Hegseth, I mean, you couldn't find somebody better for the Secretary of Defense. I respect his service, but you look at the way this guy has lived his life, just from a standpoint of how he's treated women in his life. Should we be surprised that he says he doesn't want women in combat roles? Think about that. He doesn't want women serving our country.
That's ridiculous. Women are just as good as men, but he's another grifter because at one point he was trying to sell 7.62 AK-47 rounds. And his go-to saying, Brian, this guy, finger-licking good. That's all I have to say.
He's Beavis. He's Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. That's really what he is. Look at his hair. Look at his look. Look at the way he talks. Look at the way he acts. Look at the embarrassment that he is. And again, but he's going to be loyal to Donald Trump like he always has been loyal to Donald Trump. That's who Matt Gaetz is. DUI Matt Gaetz. Go ahead and look up the DUIs he got and who his father was in that state. Mm-hmm. The guy's been pulled over 12 times, multiple times for DUI. Probably was drunk almost every time he was driving a vehicle. But the only reason why he got out of it because he had the white privilege and his father was in office and he got a slap on the wrist. This guy is a piece of human garbage. They want to talk about DEI hires, right? They want to talk about DEI hires like a guy like a Lloyd Austin, who they claim is a DEI hire. Yet you want to talk about white privilege hires and ass kissers to Donald Trump. Matt Gaetz
Lloyd Austin is a true hero.
He is. He's the Secretary of Defense, and they call him a DEI hire. And yet they're totally okay with hiring a guy like Matt. What the hell has Matt Gaetz accomplished in his life? What has Matt Gaetz accomplished in his life besides a lot of hair gel and allegedly banging underage girls and paying them on Venmo? What the hell else has this guy done in his life? But yeah, Lloyd Austin is the DEI hire. But I'm totally okay with hiring Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General. Are you effing kidding me? What a comedy show. I'll tell you, his administration's, the people that he's hiring, it's getting worse and worse by the day, man. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Brian. You gave Idiot Patrick a trick question. Matt Gaetz didn't pass one bill since he's
Not
been in
one.
Congress.
But you know what? You and
Not
I know
one
that. Mark, you and I know that. But this imbecile doesn't know that. And he just likes Matt Gaetz because he's a noisemaker. That's how unserious these MAGA voters
are. Bullhorn and he talks garbage.
Right. Exactly.
Now, I have an issue with people who never served and would like to determine who should and who should not serve.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to MAGA Patrick. Now, I'm going to call you a coward, Patrick, and I'm going to call you a coward because of two things. Number one, you never served, and you're in the chat talking about women should not serve. Women who have more courage than you'll ever be able to have in your entire life. Mm-hmm. They have more courage in their pinky than you have in your entire body because they served. They served as commanders on ships. They have served as generals in the Army.
Right.
They have served as pilots in the Air Force.
Right.
They have served throughout all military, and they've been on the front lines because I know I served with them on the front lines, and they did a heck of a job. They did a job just as good as men have. And Patrick, I'm going to call you out again for you being a coward because sometimes, Brian, sometimes violence has to meet fascism. Because look what happened when Hitler was not confronted with violence. He took over the country, and look what he did to Germany and almost the entire world.
Yeah, but I'm never going to endorse. Yeah, but I'm never going. But Mark, I'm never going to endorse violence on this show.
I'm going to endorse my violence on Patrick.
Well,
and I called you out, Patrick.
There's a way to do it. I know, but Mark, there's a way to do it without.
It's a state 80, Patrick.
But Mark, there's a way to do it without bringing violence into it. And I don't think you mean physical violence, but we can't endorse that. I'll never endorse that on this show or any show. We have to be better than that. Does it mean sparring with someone verbally? I don't have a problem with that at all. Talking to them on social media, don't have a problem with that at all. But we can never, as a human race, endorse violence. I don't think that's what you meant, but we have to be careful with the words that we use. Thank you for the call. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Eddie. Eddie is next up on PTL. Hello, Eddie.
Checkmate, bitch.
Eddie, no, keep him on the phone. But pot him down for a moment. So, Eddie, here's the thing, right? We do a radio show, and we have conversations with some people that support Donald Trump and voted for Donald Trump. So my question to you is this. I want to know if we can prove that you have an IQ over 20. I don't think you do, but before we pot him back up, I have a question for Eddie because I have not hung up on Eddie, and I want to give everybody a chance here. And before we pot him back up, Eddie, I want to ask you a question, and I hope we can have a conversation because maybe you're a really smart guy. I don't know you, Eddie, but you called into the show, and the first thing you said was, checkmate, bitch. I'm going to hope that you're smarter than that, Eddie. So let me try to ask you a question, and let's see if we can have a conversation. And if we can't, I just won't take your phone call anymore. But it's your choice, not mine. Yeah, what's your name? So I'm going to ask you what I consider to be a very fair question. Tell me why you voted for Donald Trump. I want to know the reasons why you voted for Donald Trump, and let's try to see if we can have a conversation. Go ahead, Eddie. Why did you vote for Donald Trump?
To get America back on track.
Okay, so let's talk about that. To get America back on track. Okay, fair enough. Why do you think America wasn't on the right track? Can you give me some reasons as examples, just say in the Biden administration, why we weren't on the right track? Because I'm curious to know why you think we were on the wrong track. Go ahead, Eddie.
51% of America thought we were on the wrong.
No, that's the way. Okay, I'm not asking you why everybody else felt like we were on the wrong track. That wasn't my question. My question wasn't a percentage of people that agree with you. I want you to defend your position, Eddie, and that might be hard for you to do, but I'll still give you the opportunity. You said, quote, we were on the wrong track. Give me examples of why we were on the wrong track. I'm trying to be very civil with you, Eddie, and give you an opportunity. I'm not asking. Okay, thank you. You see, there you go. There's another guy who's not. Eddie won't be calling back again. You notice he swore at me because he's not smart enough to have a conversation. You see, Eddie tried to give him a chance, and I said, why did you vote for Donald Trump? He said, we were on the wrong track. Okay, tell me why we were on the wrong track. Then he tells me to F myself. Because Eddie, like so many people who voted for Donald Trump, are not very intelligent. And their excuse for voting for Donald Trump is, well, 51% of the country voted for him. That wasn't my question. We know that. My question was why. And a guy like Eddie isn't smart enough to have a conversation. And he just proved that on the air, live. Eddie just proved on the air he's not smart enough to even give examples or reasons why he voted for Donald Trump. He's just a dumbass. And he proved it. Thank you for proving that, Eddie. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Julie. Julie is next up on PTL. Hi, Julie.
Hey, Brian, that was hilarious.
Hey, it's amazing, isn't it, Julie, that I even give a platform to idiots like that, but I always give them a chance, right? Why did you vote for Donald Trump? Why did you vote for Donald Trump? Well, America was headed in the wrong direction. I think he said something along those lines. And then I said, okay, fair enough. How was it headed in the wrong direction? Oh, F you, click. I mean, like, how do you have a conversation with somebody like that? You can't. These are stupid people. Donald Trump's base, very stupid people that are ill-informed.
That they are.
Yep. I don't know what else to say.
I'm trying to wrap my head around somebody nominating someone like Matt Gaetz, someone who has hurt women, young girls.
Correct.
I mean, I've been sexually assaulted. I've been molested when I was young.
I'm sorry.
So to hear this person is going to try to get into Congress again?
Well, even
and
worse.
Trump?
Even worse, the Attorney General. right? Donald Trump can basically do whatever he wants. Matt Gaetz doesn't care. Matt Gaetz is the same guy who hung around with the tax man, if you remember. I'm forgetting his name, guy who's in jail right now. Matt Gaetz is the guy who has been accused of, there are women that have accused him of sexually assaulting them and having sexual relations with them when they were underage and using Venmo to do so. This is the guy who's had multiple DUIs and got out of all of those DUIs because of who his father was. I believe a sitting senator, if I'm not mistaken. This is white privilege at its finest. Matt Gaetz hasn't passed one bill since he's been in Congress. He has been completely, I guess the word to be used that I would use for Matt Gaetz is irrelevant from the standpoint of doing anything to help Americans. He's a noisemaker, not a lawmaker. And I think it's an insult. It's an insult to the country. Most of these appointees are insults. And Matt Gaetz is just another Pete Hegseth. Minus serving the country.
I'm actually made a couple of petitions to probably stop Trump from continuing this, and I'm going to make another one for Matt Gaetz saying, don't let him become Attorney General. That dude does not need to be near that.
Right, but unfortunately, it's going to happen. Regardless of how many letters we write and what we do, it's going to happen because Donald Trump, it's his choice. And this is what happens when you elect somebody like Donald Trump. He's not going to hire people that are skilled. He's not going to necessarily hire people that are qualified for the job. He's only going to hire people that are going to be loyal to him. And sadly, some of these people are very unserious people. Sadly, these are people that have no idea. Kristi Noem, are you kidding me? Did you see the position that she is in right now? This ignorant fool who executes puppies and lies in books about meeting dictators and youth. This is scary stuff. Pete Hegseth, a weekend anchor at Fox News who doesn't think that women should be in combat roles at all. This is monumentally scary stuff.
I feel like I'm living in a freaking permanent night terror.
Yeah.
Trump reminds me of my dad, so to see somebody up there and doing all this shit.
Yeah, well, it's
I
scary.
feel like I'm in a night terror every single day.
Yeah, I feel like we're going back to the 1930s Nazi Germany. I really do. I really do. It's just... I'm watching this video on CNN and I guess in this local building. I'm trying to remember what state it was in, but they were watching a movie about a Jewish woman who hid from the Nazis in Nazi Germany. And there's like maybe 20 people in this VFW, I believe it was, and they were watching this video. And then right outside, there were a bunch of Nazis out there with swastikas and Make America Great Again signs. Is this the country that we're living in now? Is this where we're headed? I'm just asking the question. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to David. David is next up on PTL. Hey, David, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. I just wanted to get your opinion on what you thought of Trump picking that guy for the border that I believe worked for him during the first administration. Tom, whatever his name was.
Yeah. So, I talked about that yesterday and Monday.
Right.
So this is a guy, in my personal opinion, this is a guy who wants to deport 20 million people. He said it. That's how we know it. And then when asked about separating families, he said, well, we don't have to separate families. They can just go with them. He's talking not just about criminals and bad people that enter this country. We know most of them are not bad people. He's talking about people that have been in this country also for decades that pay taxes that have kids that were born here. Now, do I think they're going to execute that? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did these people come legally or illegally?
So what I'm referring to right now, while some of these people might have come here illegally, some of those people have been living here for decades and have had children here that were born in America. And when he's asked, and this is my biggest issue, when he's asked about that, can we do this without separating families? His answer is yes, they can all go too. I have a problem with that. Listen, if you come into this country illegally and you commit a heinous crime or act, I want you in prison or deported or both. I think most of America would agree with that. But those aren't the people that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the good people that have lived in this country while they might be undocumented. They work.
But why do they get to stay? Because they're illegal. Why do they get to stay?
Okay, so the question is, why do they get to stay because they're illegal? And what I am saying is there should be a pathway to citizenship for these people that have been here for decades. Now, they should have to pay a fine, maybe have some other things that they might need to do before they become legal.
Why should there be a pathway to citizenship?
I'm giving you the answer because many of these people in this country provide services and help the economy. They pay their taxes. Many of these people pay their taxes. They don't.
How is paying taxes relevant to if you come to
because
the country
they're
illegally?
I'm answering.
Just because you pay taxes doesn't mean you get to stay here. You don't
because you're I'll tell you why. Because there is plenty of benefits for having some of these people here. Now let me ask you a question, because obviously we fundamentally disagree on this. Do you think every person in this country that is undocumented, regardless of their family situation, regardless of whether they pay taxes or not, regardless of whether they've had kids that were naturally born in America, do you believe that we should just randomly deport grandmothers and people that have been in this country for decades, because some of these people a lot of them have lived here for years, that we should just break up families and deport everybody? Is that your position, or is there no middle ground with you and we can't have a conversation and meet in the middle?
No. Here's the thing: you're saying undocumented, and this is what people like to do. They like to say undocumented instead of saying illegal.
It doesn't.
Because undocumented.
Okay, but hold on.
sounds a lot nicer,
Okay.
but
So
these
we'll.
people are here illegally.
Okay. So I'll ask the same question, but use
Just
a different
because
word.
It's an old grandma doesn't mean it's no.
I'll ask the
Sure,
same question, but use a different word. Undocumented or illegal are two of the same things, in my opinion. I don't know why that's an issue for you, but I'll word it differently. That's fine. I'll even word it to your liking, but I still want you to answer the question. Are you saying to me that everybody that's in this country illegally, even if they've lived here for decades, pay taxes, haven't committed any other crimes other than years ago coming into this country illegally, that have children that were born in this country, they might mow your lawn, they might cook your food, doesn't matter, but they're working class people here, they're decent people, but they didn't come to the country legally years ago. Are you telling me it doesn't matter what your family situation, doesn't matter what your job situation is, doesn't matter how long you've been here, you're okay with deporting every single person in this country, whether you want to use the term undocumented or illegal? You're okay with every single one of those people, and if that means all these families separated. Are you okay with that, or are you willing to negotiate and meet somewhere in the middle?
Oh, I mean, I could certainly say I'm certainly willing to negotiate, but I'm not going to totally rule out deporting them. It's like, look, if you commit a crime and then you say to the people arresting you, listen, I have kids, you can't separate me from my kids. You committed the crime. If you
all right, let's talk about that
legally and then have children.
Let's talk about
those
that.
Children are
understood. Let's talk about that for a moment. I want to know if you're consistent.
Totally writing off what you're saying for what it's worth.
Okay, I understand.
Okay,
I understand what you're saying. And I'm not trying to play whataboutism here, but I just want to look for some consistency. You agree that if you commit a crime, you should be held to the highest extent of the law for the most part. Is that what you're saying? Is that a fair assessment?
More or less, yeah.
Okay, more or less.
Yeah,
okay.
I would say so.
Fair
That's
enough.
A blanket statement. Sure.
Fair enough. Donald Trump is a 34-count felon. Do you think Donald Trump should be held to that same standard?
Yeah, the standards of whatever crimes he was convicted of.
Okay, but we have the leader of the free world now, and all those crimes and indictments are going to all go away. Are you okay with that?
Well, I'd have to look at each specific one.
Okay, well, let's go with one right now. Let's go with one right now.
Sure.
A jury found that Donald Trump is a 34-count convicted felon. We all know that Donald Trump is not going to be held to the standard that you or I would to be held. Why? Because he's elected as the president of the United States. We all know that if he wasn't elected, he would have to face the music with the indictments and with these 34-count felony charges. But we know all these charges are going to go away. So my question to you is, are you okay with that? You're not okay, and we're having a conversation about that, with people in this country illegally. Are you okay with a 34-count felon not being held to the same standard that you or I would be held to? I guess that's my question.
If you're asking me, am I okay a politician not being held to the same standard, the answer is no. I mean, obviously, these people get held to different standards on really any party line.
Okay, so we agree there.
Sure.
So we agree there that Donald Trump is not being held to account for any of the crimes that he committed or the alleged crimes and the indictments. So we agree there. So certainly the guy who we both agree, and I appreciate your honesty, that the guy that's not being held to account is the guy, the leader of the free world, that wants to hold all others to account. Some would argue that have not done as serious as what he has done. They might have come to this country illegally, but many of these people have families, kids that were born here, and we've gone over this time and time again.
I mean, yeah, but you keep saying that as if that's supposed to give them a pass. Why do they get a pass just because they have families here?
So it's not about a pass. To me, here's what it is about. You have children and families that shouldn't be broken apart. Now, I do believe that they should have to pay a fine And I do believe there should be some way of a pathway to citizenship so that we can avoid deporting some of these people that I think are good people. It doesn't mean
there
that
is a pathway to citizenship. You come here legally through the legal channel.
Again,
That's your pathway to citizenship.
have you talked to people that have gone through that process, sir, or that have struggled to go through the process?
I have.
And how long did it take
I knew a guy
them
who came. It took him about 10 years. I'm not under the assumption
so that's my
that
point.
it
So
doesn't
here's
take
what
a
we
long
should
time.
do. Okay, you made my point for me. That's exactly what I was just going to say. So here's what we should be doing first, in my opinion, and you can tell me whether you disagree or not. I agree that if you're a criminal in this country illegally and you've committed crimes that are very serious, other than crossing the border illegally, I want you out. I don't have a problem with that, and I think most of America agrees. Why not, after that, let's come up with an easier pathway to citizenship so people don't have to wait 10 years to be a legal citizen. That's number one. Number two, let's come up with a pathway to citizenship where maybe there are fines involved and other ways of allowing people that are in this country illegally, that have children that were born here, that are married, so on and so forth, that pay taxes, to find a pathway that won't take 10 years and won't deport them so they're separated from their kids. Why can't we just agree on those basic things? Let's get the bipartisan border bill back in place, which is Kamala Harris wanted to do that. I bet you Donald Trump won't do it. He just wants to deport 20 million people. So why not do the extremes, and why go to meetings somewhere in the middle? Let's get dangerous people in this country out of the country. Let's make it a little bit easier than a 10-year wait for someone to become legal. And then let's talk about border security. Why not do those things?
Well, in regards to the 20 million people that are here, it's pretty much impossible to do anything other than what you suggested. I mean, even if you could make the strongest case that these people should be deported just for sake of argument, it's pretty much impractical. It's just not feasible.
Then, okay,
to do.
so are you saying
really
Donald
never going
Trump?
to happen.
Okay, so I don't know who you voted for, but I guess it doesn't really matter in this conversation. But you have the guy who's going to be the next president. At a minimum, you're admitting that he's saying impractical things. The war is going to be over in 24 hours in the Ukraine. We're going to deport 20 million people. I mean, he's saying impractical
things. Aren't
things.
going to happen.
Okay, well, then why is he saying those things then? Is he just a liar? Did he just say it to get voted in?
No. First of all, I think he actually believes those things. He probably does think those things are going to happen. But regardless, a lot of people voted for him for reasons outside of that. He didn't get all these votes because people thought he was going to end the war in Ukraine in a day. He got these votes because people were mad with the current administration for a whole bunch of reasons, in relation to immigration and not related to immigration. I agree that he's not really going to get these things done. But before even getting these people out of the country, which again is never going to happen, you have to still at least close the border to the people that are still currently.
Then why didn't he shut down the border when he was president?
Oh, he should have, and I agree that he should have. He should have. I mean, look, but when you look at the border the illegal crossings under him, they were, assuming you believe the numbers, they say 2.1 million, give or take, and under Biden's administration, they say it's upwards of 8 to 10 million. I mean, there's a very clear difference in who handled the border better, and it's very obviously Trump.
Well, here's
he did 10 times of a better job.
Well, I would disagree with your characterization that he did 10 times of a better job, where the numbers went way down in 2020 under Donald Trump because we were in a global pandemic. If you look at the numbers, I think 1 year it went up, 1 year it went down, 1 year it went back up, and then it went back down in 2020. Donald Trump never shut down the border. And when you look at
I'm not claiming he did.
And you look at the last couple months of Joe Biden's administration, less people are crossing the border illegally now than they did when Donald Trump left office.
Well, yeah, that's because they realized the Biden administration realized just how unpopular they were becoming in election season. They realized that they were going to lose. And I mean, they ultimately did lose, but they realized they were going to lose because so many people were coming in and so many people were mad.
You can come up with reasons why that is, but here's what I would say.
Why do you think
here's what I would say to that. I would say that we have a lot of problems in this country. Certainly, border security is one of them. But per capita, you have a less chance of being the victim of a crime from somebody who is undocumented than an American citizen. Donald Trump and many on the right wing in the MAGA base make it sound like these people that are illegals, they're going to rape your kids, they're going to kidnap your family. There are some bad cases, but here's my biggest problem.
Even if they're all angels that come here and are going to make our lives amazing, they're not allowed to be here. They don't just get
And we've been there already. And I told you my feelings on what I think should happen to many of these decent people that live in this country. And what I don't like are the lies on the far right, the scare tactics on the far right, the dehumanizing of these people. They're eating our cats and dogs. That was even legal Haitian immigrants. I don't like the lies and the scare tactics. These are decent human beings, and many on the far right want to dehumanize them. And I do think that there are a lot of MAGA supporters in his base that don't want to see brown people coming into this country. Now, they might say, well, we don't mind. We just want to see them come in the right way. I don't believe a lot of them. They want to see this country remain white as the predominant race in this country. That is how I feel with his base. Now, it's fair to have normal conversations about this on what we should do with these people that are here, but that's not what Donald Trump is doing. And that's not who Mr. Home, I believe his name is, that's not what he is doing. They're talking about deporting everybody. And I agree with you, by the way. It's probably not logical. It's probably not going to happen, but they're still saying it. And these are leaders of the country. And I don't want leaders of our country saying things that are not feasible. I don't want leaders of our country saying things that, as even you put it, and I agree with you, are not feasible, are not going to happen. At a minimum, it makes Donald Trump incompetent. And he's saying things that he cannot do and cannot accomplish. Yet these are the same people who said, well, I don't know what Kamala Harris's plan is. You've got the guy who's going to be the next president of the United States who doesn't know what he's doing. And you have a guy who's going to be the border czar, who's claiming he's going to do things that are not feasible, he's not capable of doing. This country's not capable of doing. Thank you for the call. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And again, if you want to be a part of our conversation, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. All right, let's go to Ray. I believe Ray is next up on PTL. Hey, Ray, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. Not much. How are you today?
Good.
It's good. Hey, a couple points. And number one, yeah, you're right. We can't exert violence on people unless violence meets you by other people. That's a good point to make. Number two is we need to start organizing at community levels to meet as a resistance to what's going to happen, and get involved with your neighbors. Start forming groups. Start looking out for each other, because I believe it's going to get bad. He's putting in a bunch of propagandists. They're not actually, leaders to fill these cabinet positions. They just want people to promote the propaganda. And another thing. Peaceful way to resist: stop doing business with people who are MAGA. Stop supporting their businesses.
Yeah,
that's a way to resist. And another final point is that Melania Trump, her immigration record's really sketchy. So is Elon Musk's immigration. And the thing that I've always wondered is, why do we not go after the employers who hire the illegal immigrants? So ask MAGA people this, and just keep on pounding that into them, and hopefully maybe they'll have a change of heart.
Yeah, I mean, I wish you the best of luck with that. I try that on this show every day, my friend. I think it's a valiant effort if you're doing that. I can give you a story real quick to what you're referring to. This was like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was seeing a doctor on a regular basis, maybe a couple times a year, getting a physical and all that good stuff. And I walk into her office. She had been my doctor for maybe a year or so. And I see a bunch of Trump stuff in her office and a bunch of crazy lunatic politicians that were on the wall in her office. And as she came in, I said to her, why do you have that political stuff up there? I said, you have the right to do that. It's your office, but you do realize that your clients, many of them, I'm sure, don't support these candidates. Why do you do that? Well, it's my right to do it. And I said, okay, fair enough. It's my right to leave and never see you again. Have a nice day. This was like 3 years ago. And she wasn't a good doctor to begin with. But when I go into a doctor's office, I don't want to talk about politics. When I go into a doctor, I want it to be about me and my health. I don't care who my doctor endorses. I care about if they're a good doctor, if they're a good physician. So I just told her to take a hike. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Paul. Paul is next up on PTL. Hey, Paul, what's going on?
Oh, man. Hey, I don't know if you discussed it because I just joined. Did you see who we just picked for Attorney General?
Matt Gaetz, yep.
Are we living in the same universe, Brian?
I tell you what, you couldn't pick a more unserious person. Yeah.
I mean, this is what people really wanted. Is this really the country that we're living in, Brian?
It is. There's a lot of idiots in this country. I was talking to somebody yesterday who I consider a very good friend who works in the radio business who voted for Donald Trump. He's a good family man. He's a nice person. And even he called me yesterday, and he's like, wow, I can't believe some of these people that he's putting in his administration. I said, what did you expect, man? What did you expect? I warned you. You think it's going to go well with Matt Gaetz now as Attorney General? You think it's going to go well with Mike Huckabee, who says that there's no such thing as a Palestinian? Boy, I bet you the pro-Palestinian people in this country love that. You think it's going to go good with Pete Hegseth, who has said 5 days ago, he said he doesn't think women should be on the battlefield. How do you think it's going to go? How are things going to go in this administration? I mean, you're right. Are we living in the Twilight Zone? Why are people surprised that these are the people that he has hired? I told you it was going to be a Looney Tune administration, and he's just getting started.
Holy shit. This is like beyond. They don't understand, Brian, what they did here. They have no idea just to own the libs because the price of gas was too expensive.
Yeah.
Matt Gaetz is going to be the freaking attorney, the guy that's under investigation for having sex with minors.
Yep.
Is going to be in charge of the biggest law firm in the country. That's where we are as a country.
The guy with DUIs, the guy who has white privilege, who got out of all those DUIs because of who his father is, the guy who hung out with the tax man who is now behind bars. These are the people that he has associated himself with. I told you this administration would be a lot worse. I knew this was coming. I knew that if he won, this was the threat. And by the way, he's not done yet. Think about all the idiots that he's already put in place. The Kristi Noems, Matt Gaetz. You think of Pete Hegseth, and I think of some of these others that he has put. I mean, who's next? Rudy Giuliani. I'm surprised he didn't assign Rudy Giuliani as the AG. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know what would be worse.
Does your gut tell you when this is, whether it's in 2 years in the midterms or after 4 years, do you think that people that didn't take them seriously, when they actually are affected by this and they lose their jobs and they're paying $8 for gas and $28 for a soccer ball, do you think that then they're going to wake up, or do you think they're just going to blame somebody else and keep going down this path?
No, I to answer your question, I think a very small minority of them will say, oops, I might have made a mistake. The worst thing, one of the worst qualities about these MAGA idiots is they can't admit they were wrong about anything. And I think they'll blame Democrats. In 3 years from now, they'll find a way to blame Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. They'll blame it all on the deep state. These people are
Do you think that? Does your gut tell you, Brian, honestly, like when this is all done, that we still have a democracy? Because he joked about having a third term yesterday. He joked about it.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be a third term, but I do think there'll be a democracy, and the reason why I say that is because Donald Trump can't run again, and but MAGA is here to stay for now. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's scary. The times we're living in, Paul, it's very scary, and as you stated correctly, and I think, we're pretty much in the Twilight Zone. And the New York Post is reporting, and this is hilarious, by the way, Melania Trump will be a part-time first lady, a full-time mother to Barron. By the way, Barron's in college. Barron's living at the university. He's in college. So when she makes the case that she wants to be a part-time first lady and a full-time mom, that's a lie. She could absolutely be in the White House and do that. Really, I don't care. They're not a married couple. They're not a married couple. This is a contractual marriage. Barron's not 6 years old. He's a college student now. So that's a lie, and another lie coming from Melania Trump, because she doesn't want to be anywhere near her despicable husband, and it's the only thing that she's ever done, her behavior, which I agree with. She doesn't want to be anywhere near him. She'll make a couple public appearances a year contractually, I'm sure. Who are we going to do next here? Let's go to Darlene. Hi, Darlene.
Hi, Brian. I have a couple things I want to say to the people that are so upset about these undocumented migrants.
Yep.
I want to tell you something. Now, I don't know what 23, 24 was, but I saw this the other day. In 2022, undocumented migrants, not the legal ones, paid in $97 billion into the system. And if people don't know what I'm talking about like in the Medicare, Social Security. And think about this. So if you're going to rip all these people away and send them back home, first of all, you're not going to have any workers for some of these people. Like, you're not going to have agriculture. You're not going to have any of that because, like we know, lazy white American people, they don't want to get out there and do that work. So another thing I want to say that they're not even thinking about, what about their pets? What are we going to, okay, you're sending 20 million people back over there. They have not ever did nothing wrong.
Right.
They're paying taxes.
Right.
So what about their pets? Who's going to take care of their pets?
They don't. These MAGA Republican dip you-know-whats don't think like that. They don't think about the future. They don't think about pets. They don't think about human beings. If they don't think about human beings and kids, they're not going to care about pets. They don't care about splitting up families. They don't care about human decency. They just are stuck in their bigoted views. This is going to be a dictatorship. You just watch. Look at the people that he has already put in place. These are not serious people. These are dangerous people, many of them criminals. And these are people that are sadly going to be in very powerful positions, my dear. If they don't care about human beings, they certainly don't care about pets. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Cheryl. Cheryl's next on PTL. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. I think my point has already been brought up by a few people. It feels like very hypocritical that Melania and her parents were allowed to come over, and I'm sure they didn't have to go through the long wait periods.
Right.
But she also lied on her application that she had a architectural background, and I think she should be the first one to go. Put her in a prison cell.
Go ahead and deport Melania.
Bring her. Yeah, and bring Barron with her.
You know what the sad part about this is, and I mean this sincerely. That'll never happen, but let's just assume for a moment, hypothetically it was. Donald Trump would probably be happy. He wouldn't care. If Melania Trump was deported, he probably would be a happy man. And then he can get back together with Laura Loomer. I'm being serious. I don't think Donald Trump would care. I think the only person he cares about is himself. I really don't think he would care. I really don't.
Right. I have one other point, too, that I thought that I heard that he had not signed an ethics oath before, and he missed several deadlines to do that before receiving national
well, of
secrets.
course he wouldn't sign that because he has no ethics. He knows that. So that's why he wouldn't sign it. Yeah.
How in the world would Biden turn those over to him if he hadn't done that?
That's a good question. I don't know what the laws are concerning that. I don't know what his legal obligations were to signing it, but if someone who has no ethics, I dare to say that they probably won't sign something when it involves ethics. I don't know. I don't have a problem with what Joe Biden did today because he showed class and dignity and he sets the example because Joe Biden's a decent man in inviting Donald Trump to the White House. But I do have a problem with right-wing idiots out there thinking that they're owning the libs. Oh, look, Joe Biden, he's happy that Donald Trump won. I mean, these people are so stupid. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Lauren. Lauren is next up on PTL. What's up, Lauren?
Hi, Brian.
Hey.
Say, I just had some statistics here. Going back to Clinton, 870,000 people were sent back. Under Bush, 2 million were sent back. Under Obama, 3.2 million. Under Trump in his first administration, 800,000. I think that a lot of times, you'll use the analogy, well, you have a better chance of being harmed as an American by another American than you do by an illegal. And if the illegal wasn't here, then you wouldn't have to worry about it.
If the illegal
I don't think that analogy is accurate.
Okay, well, first of all,
it's like
it is accurate because it's according to FBI statistics that per capita you have a better chance of being the victim of a crime from an American citizen.
But that's a fact. That would be in any country that you're in.
Why do I say that? Why do I give out that statistic, which is true, by the way? Why do you think I do that?
Why do I think you do?
Yeah. Why do I make that point?
For some justification.
No. Not doing it.
For allowing people.
No, you're wrong. That's not why I'm doing it. I
never got a chance to finish, so you don't know what I was going to say.
You were talking about justification.
It's okay, Brian. Just go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Well, you're wrong.
Nothing. And how many illegals have you ever worked with?
So I'm going to explain to you one at a time why I'm not trying to justify them being here. The reason why I bring that up and that statistic is because if you listen to Donald Trump and many people on the far right, they will lead you to believe the only reason why we have all this crime in this country is because of illegals. And it is interesting, isn't it, that the two people who attempted to assassinate Donald Trump were not illegals. It is interesting that the guy in Las Vegas hold on, let me finish. The guy in Las Vegas that killed 61 people is not an illegal. And the people that go into schools and execute kids are not illegals. I'm not saying some illegals don't commit serious crimes in this country. I'm not making that claim. The reason why I bring that up is not justification for them being here, because I know where you were going with that, to save time, because we do
where
a radio
was I
show.
going with it, Brian?
Well, what I just said in my reasoning, were you right?
Was I right about what?
What I just said. I just told you why I give out that statistic.
Yeah, I mean, you're just always trying to make some kind of justification.
What are you talking about? Are you not listening to me? I just said I'm not justifying illegals in this country. Do you not listen?
What are you doing when you make that statement?
I just told you. I'll say it again. The problem is you don't know how to listen. Okay, I'm going to say it again.
No,
yeah,
you don't know how to listen.
Okay, are you going to listen this time when I answer? Because
are you going to listen this time?
Have a nice day, idiot. Oh my God, these people are just unconscionable. Are you going to listen? I just told you why I gave the statistic out, you dope. The reason why I give the statistic out, and I'll say it again so your MAGA wax in your ears can maybe pay attention and listen, is not to justify illegals being here. I'm not justifying that. Do these people not listen to what I say? I just gave him the answer. It's not justification. It's making the point that many on the far right, like Donald Trump and many of his MAGA imbecile clowns, bring up the fact that they're eating your cats and dogs, they're going to rape your kids, they're going to invade your homes. And my rebuttal to that is, while there are a select few and a small percentage of these people that are committing heinous crimes, you have a better chance of being the victim of a crime from an American citizen than somebody who is illegal. It's not a justification, as you said, Lauren, because you don't know how to listen. I'm not justifying people breaking the law. What I'm making is a case for the fact that people on the far right like to put us in fear that illegals are going to rape your kids and eat your dogs and cats. That's why I bring that stat up. I've now explained it to you twice, and you probably still don't understand what I'm saying. I can't help you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the show. Let's go to Herb. Herb is next. Hello, Herb.
Hey, Brian. But, Department of Homeland Security came out with a statistic. They said that over 400,000 criminals were in the United States that were illegal. And 13,000 of those 400,000 were convicted murderers in other countries.
So my opinion doesn't change and my stats don't change. You still have a better chance of being the victim of a crime by an American citizen than you do an illegal immigrant.
Okay, well, I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
I mean, there's 300,000.
And let me be very clear. And let me be very clear. And let me be very clear on that statistic that you just gave out. If you're in this country illegally and you've committed a violent crime, you should not be in this country. Now, this isn't the first time I've said this. I've said this multiple times on this show. In fact, I'll even take it a step further. I'm very clear. I want border security. I don't think building a wall will help, but I am all for border security, and we do have a crisis in this country. I don't agree with Democrats that have said in the past we don't have a crisis. We do, but it didn't start under the Biden administration. It's been a crisis in this country for decades and decades. I remember the George W. Bush years. It was horrible. We need to come together. I'm not saying you do disagree. All I'm saying is let's get the violent criminals out. I'm totally okay with that, but let me ask you a question, Herb.
Well, I want to ask you one.
All right. Well, we can ask each other.
I just want to make a comment real quick.
Okay, but hold on. Is it about the border? Because I want to stay on this issue for a moment, and then you can ask your question. Okay. Okay.
Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you. So while we agree, violent criminals that are in this country that commit violent crimes that are in this country illegally, they should be deported. They should be behind bars. While we agree on that, would you agree with me that if you've been living in this country for decades and you have a family here and you are undocumented, but you pay your taxes and you've had kids that have been born in this country, that we shouldn't immediately say to you, you're out, and your family can go with you if they want, but you're out? Would you agree that's not a good way to go about it?
Okay, let me answer it this way, Brian. I know a lot of people that are here illegally and pay taxes. And I think those people are so far down the list that it'll take more than, I think, 4 years to get to those people. I really do.
But do you think they should be?
There's a lot let me also say this. There's a lot of people here illegally that aren't paying any taxes.
Not talking about those people.
You know, somebody called in well, let me finish, Brian. Somebody called in earlier and said that they paid $98 million worth of taxes or something like that.
They do.
Do you know how much the state of New York has paid out just for illegal aliens? Just the state of New York.
But that is okay. I understand.
Like $198 million.
I understand what you're saying, but that's a different
question.
So that's a different topic.
Out at all.
Okay, but that's a different topic than what I mentioned. What I specifically.
No. I know it is, but I'm just saying. I think that they're so far down the list, and I think that consideration is going to be given to those people that have families here, been here for over 10 years.
I guess we'll have to. Okay, I can only take for what they say, and the new borders has not said that they're going to be way on the bottom of the list. He has never made that statement. And they've also claimed that they want to deport 20 million people. So I can only go by what they say. Now, if they said what you said, that's not our priority. We're not going after those people. We want a pathway to citizenship for decent people that pay taxes. Then I would take them a little bit more seriously. But they're not making those claims, and I can only report on what they say.
Brian, we got to let them have a chance. You got to just, you're trying to convict this administration before they get a chance
so first of all, Donald Trump was the president of the United States for 4 years. That's number one. Number two, months before Joe Biden took office, not only were they not giving him a chance to govern, but they were saying he never won the election. Number three, before Obama took office, I can tell you when I started in talk radio, I can tell you that a number of people on the far right, even including Donald Trump, said he wasn't born in this country, the birther issue. So don't make it sound like all of a sudden people aren't giving Donald Trump a chance. Oh, yeah, by the way, he's already been president for 4 years. Herb, that is disingenuous.
Brian, they started impeachment proceedings against Trump the second day he was in office.
Yeah, because you know why? Do you know why? Do you know why? Why did they do that, Herb? Did they do it because they just don't?
I don't know why.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because he had a conversation with Zelensky, which was a quid pro quo. He had conversations with secretaries of state asking for 11,000 votes. Now, listen, if there's a there, then you deserve to be impeached. You should never be calling.
Brian,
hold on. This is important. You should never be calling a foreign adversary, a foreign leader, to investigate an investigation on your political rivals. That's exactly what Donald Trump did. It was a quid pro quo, and you should be upset at that. You should say that's not right. Instead, you seem to be upset at them wanting to impeach Donald Trump instead of the actual behavior proven on a phone call.
But Brian, you put sanctions against Russia, and also on top of that,
he put sanctions on Russia.
You got to remember, they put out a dossier. They put sanctions against Russia. Trump did.
Totally dismiss everything I just said. And if you want to talk about how tough he is on Russia, all right, well, let's go with that. I'm going to give him a chance. Herb, I'm going to give him a chance. Herb, I'm going to give him a chance. He said he's going to end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. January 21st, I'm going to assume that the war in the Ukraine will be over, and then you can call back, okay? Herb, I'm giving him a chance. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Bob. Bob is next. Hey, Bob, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, you're the shining light on the internet, buddy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
But Brian, do not try to talk to a mega moron. Don't even try anymore, because I've lost friends. In fact, I was talking to a guy at where I do my grocery shopping. He has no effing idea what a tariff is. He has no idea.
Neither does Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't know either. I mean, that's the problem.
Brian, my frustration level is sky high. Yeah. Now I'm going to do a 360 here. I think the people ought to not, Joe should not show up for the inauguration. Basically, F Trump.
He will, though. He will show up.
Brian, he has too much class to show up. But you know something? He didn't show up for Biden's. So you know something? Screw him.
Listen, I agree. Listen, I agree with you, but Joe Biden is a man of decency and dignity, and he proved that again today. He proved that again today in the White House. I understand what you're saying, and I would probably do the same thing. But, Joe Biden's a good, decent man, and he shook his hand today and congratulated him. By the way, Kamala Harris picked up the phone and conceded. But these MAGA morons out there, they fail to understand really anything, including the fact that Donald Trump didn't invite Joe Biden to the White House. There was no smooth transition. He left Donald Trump a note in a cabinet. He still hasn't conceded the 2020 election. I mean, he could have done that today. He hasn't done any of that.
I'm 73 years old. I've been voting since I was 18 years old. Mm-hmm. I've never missed one. Unfortunately, I had a brain fart and voted for this clown the very first time, and I regretted it about 2 days after him coming down that stupid escalator.
Well, you know what? I don't fault you for that, my friend. And the reason why I don't fault you is because I know a lot of people like you that are good, decent Americans that, listen, I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016. I made a big mistake. I regret it. I said I'll never make that same mistake again, but I didn't vote for either candidate. That was a mistake. I didn't make that mistake in 2020. I didn't make that mistake last week. So don't fault yourself over that, my friend, and I appreciate the call. Let's go to Dave. Dave is next up on PTL. Hey, Dave, what's going on, man?
Hi. Has the name Matt Gaetz come up today yet?
Yes, it has. Unfortunately, it has.
Okay. I just heard a comment by a friend of mine, like listening to some of these people that you talk with, and I'm stealing this line. Debating them is like playing chess with a pigeon. The pigeon flies in and shits on the chessboard and flies away and declares himself a winner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like that one. I have a few myself. Listen, anybody out there, and my friend Dave, I mean anybody, that thinks that appointing Matt Gaetz to the Attorney General position is a good pick is dumb as a doornail. I don't know how else to describe it. Dumb as a doornail. Let me tell you what this means for America. First of all, Matt Gaetz is still under investigation for having sex with an underage girl, whether it be the DUIs. Matt Gaetz has never passed a bill in Congress. That's number one. Number two, what this means is anybody that Matt Gaetz likes, including Donald Trump and any of these cronies, they have full reign to break the law. It could be an Elon Musk. It could be anybody. It's pretty much a get-out-of-jail-free pass and be able to do whatever you want. He is the definition of white privilege. But it is interesting when they hire somebody like Lloyd Austin as the Secretary of Defense, who happens to be a four-star general and a black man, these right-wing racists out there will call him a DEI hire. But when Donald Trump hires Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General, all is fine in the world. These people are some of the dumbest people and the biggest bigots and racists that America has to offer.
Yeah, he's one of the members of Dumb and Dumber. I think he's the dumber one.
Beavis. I mean, he looks like Beavis and he acts like Beavis. He's Beavis.
Oh, he sure does.
Yeah. Well, listen, my friend, we're in trouble.
He also looks like the Trump, the younger Trump son.
Eric or Don? Yeah, Uday and Kusei, as I like to call them. Yeah, you're right. We're in trouble, my friend. We're in trouble, and I wish I could
we have to stay vigilant, and I hope that they don't come after you, buddy.
Well, you know what? All I can say is I'm going to continue to do my radio show every day. That's all I can do. And, it's funny, these people that call themselves, champions for freedom of speech, unless someone's saying something they don't like. Let's go to Chip. Chip is next up on PTL. What's up, Chip?
Yeah, is this Brian Shapiro?
This is Brian. How can I help you, sir?
It is. You sure can. I'm here to tell you right now that I am a 100% Trump supporter.
Okay.
You're mad because you lost. You got psychological issues.
What psychological
issues? And you're nothing but a Democrat piece of...
Thank you. So would you like to have a conversation? Would you like to have a debate and a conversation? And then he hung up, of course. This is your typical MAGA who calls into the show that calls somebody names but is not willing to have a conversation. This is somebody who calls into the show. You lost. You're a piece of... I mean, again, dumb as a doornail. I try to give these people an opportunity to have a conversation with me. Unfortunately, many of them are not smart enough to do so. Thanks for the call, Chip. You sound definitely like Donald Trump's base. Good luck at your Klan rally tonight. Let's go to Loretta. Loretta's next. Hey, Loretta.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. What's on your mind?
We're all scared, and I seriously think that there should be an investigation done into that I think that there was total voter interference, and that, Trump saying, "Oh, I don't need your vote," and Elon Musk, hacking the freaking voting system and paying people to vote. Paying people to vote is illegal, is it not?
So you're right about that. When we're specifically talking about Elon paying people $1 million basically to vote for Donald Trump, you're allowed to pay people to sign a petition, but you're not allowed to pay people to register to vote a certain way. So I do agree with you there. Do I think that had a huge outcome in the election? Probably not. As far as, here's what I don't like to do. And so I asked questions on Wednesday of last week, and I said, geez, why did 17 million people not vote for Kamala Harris? Where did they all go? They didn't go to Donald Trump because he didn't get a significant amount of votes larger than he did 4 years ago. So I asked the question, did they all sit it out? Where are they? Where did they go? 25 million people registered to vote, we were told. Where did they all go? So I ask questions, but I do think it's dangerous to say and do what the Republicans did in 2020. The election was stolen. They cheated. It was rigged. I'm not willing to go there until I see actual real evidence that could prove that. Does that make sense?
That definitely makes sense. Absolutely. But do you think an investigation is justified at all? I'm not talking.
So when you say,
Capitol
so when you say
stuff.
when you say investigation, do you mean a recount? So to have an investigation, there has to be some sort of sufficient evidence. So when you say investigation into what specifically?
Well, how Elon Musk said that it was so easy to hack the system. I mean, isn't that a justification to do an investigation?
No, I think when he says it's easy to hack the system, that doesn't mean that he hacked the system. There has to be evidence. But I will say this, if you're talking about Elon Musk, I do think he should be investigated for paying people millions and millions of dollars to vote for Donald Trump.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with that. I think there's a there. I think that money should be returned. I think that was against the law, and I think Elon Musk should be held to account. So I'm with you on that. I don't see any evidence that he hacked any voting systems, my friend, but I do see the fact that paying people to vote for Trump is illegal. You can't do that. So I'm with you on that one. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Tom. Tom is next. Hey, Tom, what's up?
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
First time calling in. Couple things. I mean, real quick, since you're talking about the voter thing, I do think it's odd that many people, like, supposedly, decided not to vote, like they weren't excited to vote. I just think that's a big number, and I don't know how you go about, trying to see, what happened. Maybe you take a roll call of the people who sat out and actually find out, did you not vote, and why did you not vote?
Yeah.
Maybe that needs to happen. Maybe that's a way to go about it.
I think it's
and then if you find out, well,
it's a tough road. It's a tough road. I understand what you're asking. I do. But
it just seems like a big number. But
I understand what you're saying.
But the point why I called in is my point. I wanted to get to the immigration thing because I was listening to NPR. I drive 3 hours a day, so I'm in my car and I'm listening, and they're talking to a guy from the Pew Research Foundation.
Yeah.
And they're talking about what this immigration thing is going to do to the economy and certain parts of the economy, for example.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be why this is all going to go away. He is not going to round up anybody because it will kill this economy.
It will destroy our economy. I agree. It'll absolutely destroy I'm sorry, I'm up against the end of the show here. Otherwise, I'd keep you on a little bit longer. Please call back. I didn't mean to cut you off there early, but we only have about a minute left to go on the show, my friend. But I agree with what you just said. It will kill the economy. And quite frankly, I think our economy is going to be, quote, killed anyway. The latest breaking news, Matt Gaetz is the Attorney General. I mean, this is a comedy show. You couldn't put a bunch of more unserious people together and dangerous people together that are completely incompetent. Listen, it's only a matter of time. It'll take a little bit of time. I don't root for our country to fail, but I have no confidence that this administration is going to get things done for the better of the American people, but we'll have to wait and see. We have more special guests that are going to be joining us on the program tomorrow. I remind you all, this is an independently owned radio show. What can you do to help us? Check out the website, pushingthelimits.live. Again, that's pushingthelimits.live, where we sell merchandise up there. Shirts, hats, beanies, you name it, we sell it up there. Your support is appreciated. Helps us keep doing what we do. There's also a donate button on the front page of pushingthelimits.live. Whatever you can donate, we appreciate. Also, my good friends at Jackson's Bar and Grill, the official gaming bar of the Pushing the Limits radio show. Great promotions, including the Pass the Puck contest, where you could win up to $500 in free slot play. Great food, great atmosphere. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. And thanks to my good friend John Domenico, also known as Donald Trump, who joined us in the first segment. It's funny, he mentioned Matt Gaetz. He was right. Matt Gaetz is now your Attorney General. I'm sure we'll be talking more about that tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Love you all. Love all the listeners. We'll catch you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercials, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show.